Hello, this is Danielle Channels Planets, and today is Monday, May 4th, and I'm talking about the archetypal astrology of today, moving through this week. And the first thing that I notice, I go to the moon is in a trine with Mars. And so the moon, we can always look to how we're feeling today, how we're feeling in our bodies, what kind of somatic things are coming up for us, and how might we be finding safety in the world? How might be our containers that are our not only external environment but our bodies? And the moon in a trine to Mars is going to kind of heat things up. It's definitely going to bring a little bit of some movement, some action, maybe even some irritability, but it's not necessarily something that blocks us. It's going to be something that we can move with. It's going to be something that might motivate us. It might cause us to assert ourselves. This is a showing up in the world. Nevertheless, we're kind of feeling like the fieriness of Mars predominantly today. So that can come through a range of things. It can be annoyance, frustration, irritability, but on the other side, it can also be courage and confidence, assertiveness, and a willingness to do all the things that we need to get done. Now, what's amplified here is this Jupiter square Mars aspect, and Jupiter is going to bring a lot of excess. It's going to inflate. It can cause a grandiosity to occur in terms of its interaction with Mars. And Mars is the principle of our will and our ego and our assertiveness and our drive and our passion. And so this can take on a lot of different expressions for everybody. But I'll offer some. So Jupiter Mars can definitely bring, first and foremost, just an abundance of things to do. So we might find that we're very busy. We might find that we have a lot of things that we could go into action with. And the square creates a tension where maybe we're blocked, like we have to do a lot of one kind of activity at the expense of not being able to do another thing. Jupiter can also bring a lot of excess in terms of um, time spent on certain things or money spent on certain things, and therefore it creates a restriction with Mars. And then the Moon can be feeling some frustration with that. It might be that the world is just very active these days, and it's nice out, it's hot out, people are outside, and we might feel like we have a lot of work to do inside. And then we also want to do a lot of things outside. And so Mars might be feeling that kind of abundance, but at the same time, some kind of restriction. Now it is moving off from Saturn, and those two are in a conjunction for the past few weeks. And so Mars is hopefully starting to feel a little bit more clear, a little bit more restructured around its boundaries. It might still be feeling some of the tethers from Saturn that are finally being cut loose as Mars is able to move forward, is able to implement a plan, is able to be strategic, and it's go time. So I think that this week we're definitely getting a lot of the kick from Jupiter. It's kind of like the hand of God is kind of giving Mars a push. Now that it's done with Saturn, that's caused resistance, delays, or setbacks. Jupiter is now kind of this like supportive guidance that comes through and assists Mars and says, hey, like, here you go, get out there in the world. Let's do this. Jump in the water, kid. You got this. It's time to swim. Jupiter being in Cancer. It's kind of like family cookout on the lake. Here you go, jump off the pontoon. Here's your floaty, swim back. You know, so that's great. I mean, it's obviously super noisy where I'm filming. I'm in Belize right now. There's lots of motorcycles in the background. There's people doing housework. Everyone at my hostel is out doing things, exploring Mayan ruins. So, yeah, that's a good example of what's going on just in my little life. But okay, so we also have Mercury that has ingressed into Taurus now. And so you might be feeling a little bit of that change as well. Mercury was in Aries for a while, especially during April and during the new moon that we had with a lot of planets in Aries. But now with the Sun and Mercury in Aries, in Taurus, Mercury is going to have a little bit more of a sense of slowing down. So our thoughts, our ability to get things done, our thinking function might just be a little bit more peace loving, might just be a little bit more grounded, might be a little bit more pleasure seeking. Indulging in my five senses is enough after that, fieriness of Aries and wanting to go, 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 and think, and go into action with lots of things. Now, Taurus is kind of like well, what can we just do today to stay in this peaceful kind of place that we feel, in harmony with the world? And so I think that that's going to get a little challenged because Mercury is heading into and is already in a square with Pluto. Now, last week during the full moon in Scorpio and the week before that, Pluto was in a square with the sun, and so our egos were challenged, integrating contents from the unconscious. We had to face our shadows. We were honestly, going to the underworld and back. And now Mercury comes down into the underworld. So Mercury is Hermes, and Hermes is adept at traversing the upper world and the underworld. So perhaps a little bit differently than the sun. The sun is more of the hero's journey, but it's kind of like a Nana who descends to face Ereshkigal in the underworld and then returns forever changed. Hermes is more of the messenger and the trickster. So now that we've descended and now that the hero has come back from the underworld, now there is a message. Now there is something to share. Now there is a transformation that occurs with self expression, but our egos and our sense of personality has shifted. Now it's more about implementing this change with our words, with our writing, with our expression, with our actions. Mercury is an action oriented, logos oriented, uh, archetypal principle that when it interacts with Pluto, it's going to want to strengthen Mercury, but also cause some kind of death and rebirth to the way that Mercury has been. So that could be, for example, I'm filming in a different location. I'm filming in a different way than I used to. And that is just, yeah, it's part of the death and rebirth process of the creative process related to sharing of information, sharing of knowledge. Mercury's got a lot going on because Uranus and Venus are in a Mercury ruled sign. And so you could say that some of the energies that are going on here are connected to what's happening with Mercury. And Mercury is acting as a vessel or a channel for the creative energy of Uranus and the creative energy of Venus. Relationships, our connection to our individuation process are being funneled through Mercury. And so, yeah, there can be a bit of erratic energy in the air. There can be a little bit of like quick changing, difficult decision making at times that we can feel a little bit stuck in. And so, but then things like shift very quickly because of Uranus. So with all of that going on, I mean, these two aspects are, Uranus and Venus are still talking to Pluto in a supportive way. So whatever kind of transformation we are going through, this is something that is part of this new life chapter that we're all stepping into. Um, whatever ways you're being challenged to grow, to express yourself, to shift out of some way of thinking this week, this is definitely about a new creative process of self expression that's trying to emerge for all of us, just coming through in unique ways for everybody, depending on where it's interacting with your chart. But I would say that now that the Sun, Mercury, and Mars have really separated from Saturn, we're going to feel a picking up of energy. We're going to feel a um, this like movement forward finally after a long winter, after an eclipse season, after uh, Aries season was kind of like revving the engine, and now we're going because it's separated from Saturn. So that's really exciting. However, tomorrow Pluto is going to go retrograde. So take note of where you're at in your journey with your transformation process, with things that have come up that you need to work on and integrate personally and in your relationships or spiritually or where, whatever kind of domain of life transformation is unfolding, and know that like that's the depths that we're going to, and now we're going to retrograde back and we're going to reflect on that. We're going to go to therapy about it. We're going to integrate it, and then we'll move forward again later this year. So give it a couple of months with whatever just came up for you to process, to integrate. We know the changes now. They've become apparent to us. All of the signs have ingressed into fire and air, all the outer planets, and everything, it has been direct for a while, but Pluto is going to go retrograde. So it is kind of like a coming out of the underworld. but through an integration of what we've seen and what we know. And by doing that, that's how we come into our power. And this will take time. This will probably go through the summer of some kind of process that involves Saturn as well, because Pluto and Saturn are still in a sextile talking. So it takes time, it takes maturity. Maybe it takes an authority figure that is supportive, someone that can help you integrate, like a therapist. Um, yeah, and so I think that overall, Monday, May 4th, looking like there is some tense aspects going on with Pluto, Mercury. I mean, that can just kind of intensify our thought process, intensify communication, intensify noise. And Jupiter, Mars can also come through in an intense, noisy, aggressive kind of way. Now, it doesn't need to be, if we're aware of these things, it can definitely be channeled through work, through being busy, getting outside, using the energy to go ahead and get things done and feel that fire energy of Mars that's burning today. So that's my best advice. And then also just knowing that, like, if any kind of a frustration, annoyance, irritability arises, that it's probably going to be quick to pass as soon as it comes up, just because the quick moving nature of Aries can almost be, impulsively, engaged with something else. So if you find yourself kind of burning up with that, like, it's best to discharge it in some physical activity, or just wait for another distraction to arise, or play some music, anything to kind of redirect your attention towards something that feels a little bit more constructive. Okay, so I hope that's helpful for everybody out there. Stay tuned for more updates Monday through Friday, and please like and subscribe to my channel if you like archetypal astrology. Drop a comment below if you like or don't like anything. Let me know what you think. Okay, thanks.